Friday night edition of the Anaheim Calling podcast. Jake's misery continues. The Ducks win 5-3 against the Colorado Avalanche in Troy Terry's homecoming to Denver, a game that he had been anticipating for quite some time now. The Ducks take it. Pretty impressive performance. Corey Perry, I believe 2 goals tonight.
Hashtag Perry is still good.
Overall, the Ducks are riding a pretty good wave right now, and that continued tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what more there is to say about tonight's game other than that. We'll jump into it more, obviously. But, I mean, they're playing decent hockey right now. And, I mean, Corey Perry scored.
The Ducks are still good?
Hashtag Perry is still good. Let's just stick with that.
Corey Perry is still good. So I guess we have something to announce tonight before we jump into the pod.
Yeah, tonight is going to be a drinking episode of this show. So for those of you that are watching this live on Twitch, the way that we're doing it this time, because last time you guys got us pretty drunk during that episode. So in an effort to not have to get as drunk as last time, let's go with that. We're upping the bits from 500 bits for a shot to 1,000 bits for a shot. But out of good faith, and because Felix took a shot before the show, I will take one right now out of good faith, and also in honor of our Luna who wants a sub shot, and Bonnie who gave us 100 bits, and also just out of a good faith because I may have owed one from last time because
it's a good faith shot.
It's a good faith shot,
and I will have a sip of beer while you do that because I am a good person.
And it's a Bullet Rye is what I'm going on right now. So
I'm drinking Scope and IPA.
So for any,
from
like
Jake's
I said,
own Long Beach.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a grapefruit. It's grapefruit Scope.
Grapefruit Sculpin. Interesting.
Yep.
But bits for shots. That's how we're doing it.
Growing up before everyone's eyes here. Bits for shots.
Oh. Ooh. Ooh.
All right.
There we go. 1 in, 1 down.
So Dark Force is already 3 shots in.
No, we're not playing catch up right now.
Yeah.
We'll eventually get there probably.
Well, you can get us there.
Yes.
You know what to do.
Yes. Oh, that hurt.
The first one is always the roughest, and then from there it gets easier.
Oh, that one hurt bad.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because I had a little work event tonight and I had a thing of Jameson, and the first one was really rough, and I'm expecting that not to be the case here. By the way, folks, just for full clarity's purposes,
I should ask you because Chad,
in honor of the St. Patrick,
Chad was wondering if you were taking your time getting ready for the show because you were watering down your booze.
Watering down? No, incorrect. That is not the truth. Incorrect.
All right. Should we talk some hockey?
Let's do it. So before we get into tonight's game, which was a good game from the Ducks, but nowadays on this podcast, that's less interesting to one of the hosts. Let's talk about the news that came out before the game. Ryan Kesler, it's not officially official, but Ryan Kesler to miss the rest of the season. He's hit the 1,000 game mark, and reports are from Bob Murray that he's in a lot of pain right now. He's hurting pretty good, is the quote, and it seems to be, this is from the Orange County Register, unlikely that he finishes the season or that he plays the rest of the season. So the question becomes, well, let's start with the news first. Let's address the news. So, I mean, what was your reaction to seeing this?
I mean, I think it was just confirmation of what we had all assumed up until this point, pretty much. I mean, if everyone kind of was on the same page that Kesler probably should be shut down for the rest of the season, I think the most interesting takeaway from the article is how much Bob Murray kind of says he was pushing for that for that 1,000th game, like that was something that was so super important to him. And granted, in hindsight, that kind of makes sense. And if you look at it, the last game he played was the game after his 1,000th game where he got honored at Honda Center. So,
right.
I mean, yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. Getting some allergies lately.
A little bit.
I think it's because the weather's heating back up.
Yeah.
But yes, I was I was a little surprised to hear this, only because, yes, we have been saying it all year that it feels like Kesler is on his way out, but at the same time, it never feels real until it actually happens. And I'm not saying that he's necessarily done for the rest. I'm not saying that this is the last game we've seen him play, but I feel like it's really unlikely that we see him play another full season for the Ducks. That's where this feels like it's trending to me.
Yeah, I mean, it would not shock me if we've seen the last of him. By the way, our good friend Bob Shockey gave us 1,000 bits. It's time.
Oh, my goodness.
Bob.
Early.
Bob. What are you doing to us?
Very, very
Also,
early.
I didn't even think about it, but 1,000 bits for a shot, just like Ryan Kesler playing 1,000 games. There we go.
Wow. This one's for Kess.
We also just got another 1,000 bits, so we now have 2 shots to get through at some point.
I'm pouring a double shot.
I'm just doing a single, and I'll get the second one in.
Y'all can audit me.
People are going to judge you for that. All right, cheers. Salud.
They're going to judge me? You don't think this is 2?
I don't people in Twitch chat, is that 2? Is that 2 shots?
You gotta keep in mind, this is a big glass.
Are those 2 shots right there?
I would say this is 2
Does
shots.
that count as 2? I'm leaving it up to the Twitch chat to
the Twitch chat is saying drink, so let's do that.
All right, cheers. Angry Whopper said that's a raindrop for you.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
So I've got one more to do. People are saying that wasn't a full 2 shots.
It was 2, trust me. Oh, that was a rough one.
Oh, that hurt.
This might be a rough one.
Might be. Might be. Oh, it may have been a mistake.
People are saying I owe them 0.25 of a shot. They're throwing the analytics at me.
Numbers.
It's okay. So let's do this. Let's play this little game. I'm going to throw you an option. Let's go through the 3 options where this could go. Actually, 4. There are 4 options for Ryan Kesler, and I want you to give me 1 through 10 rating of likelihood. So let's go with this. Ryan Kesler returns for training camp and plays next season. Just life goes on as normal. 1 through 10.
5.
5 out of 10. That is substantial to me.
Well, what is life goes on as normal?
I mean, his career continues.
Oh, 2.
Okay, 2. Retirement. So retirement before next season.
5.
By the way, for the record, I'm going to say for next season, for life to continue as normal, I'm going to go with a 2 out of 10 as well. So for retirement, I'm going to go with a 4 out of 10 for next season. Okay, let's continue down the list. Buyout.
Ooh.
And again, this is all for this summer.
5.
5. I'm going to go with... I'm going to give that one a 6. And my reasoning here is I think that is just... And of course, these aren't all going to add up to 10. These are individual ratings. But I think that feels way likelier to me than the other 2 options. Okay, lastly, and this one I think you should explain a little bit for the listeners, the long-term injured reserve. How does it work, and how would it apply to Kesler? So I'm throwing you the hard cap questions before we get to more drinking.
All right, so the hard cap questions, and that was perfect timing because I was struggling there for a minute, and I just got a nice burp in, and that nice burp really solved a lot. So
there we go.
I'd put that as probably the most likely scenario, to be honest. Maybe a 7. So if I did the other 2 at 5, so let's do a 7 on that. So for that scenario, so let me run through those 3 and kind of the impact on the cap. Let's do that because that's kind of important here to relay those, because those are big. The big information point with all of them is that with those 3 options, or I guess 4 under that scenario, continues playing as normal. That's kind of business as usual.
I mean, that almost feels like impossible at this point.
But 6.8 mil or what, something right around there for next season and the seasons after that. If he were to retire, the cap hit comes completely off the books. It was not signed when he was over 35, so there is no lingering cap hit. He does not get paid. I believe he forfeits the salary if he retires. So yeah, he's making $6.875. So if he were to retire, the contract just simply goes away. He's only 34 right now, so it's obviously it's not a over 35 contract. But crap, we just got another 1,000 bits from Diehard fans, so I got to do 2 shots. You've got one more to do, but let me. I have
1.25.
Okay, I'm gonna keep running through this though, real quick. So the other option is that Ryan Kesler, gets bought out. So if he gets bought out, it's gonna be 2/3 of the contract value spread out over 2 times the amount of years. So it would be 6.875 times 2/3, double the year. So it's right around $2.5 million for 6 years on the cap. And then the final option is LTIR. Oh, there's another 1,000. I've got 3 shots now to do. So I still got 3 to do, which is great.
Man.
So the LTIR option basically means he's not well enough to play. The doctors cannot clear him. He is on long-term injured reserve. He continues to collect a paycheck. It's not completely paid for by the Ducks. Some of it will be covered by insurance. Because I guarantee you his contract is partially insured. But essentially the Ducks are allowed to go over the salary cap ceiling by essentially the difference between that cap hit and the cap space. So if the Ducks are tight up against the cap, they can exceed the cap ceiling by 6.875. And so, as Leafs fans lovingly say it would be like being on Robidaw Island, pretty much. Because essentially he's not going to be playing. He's going to still collect his paychecks. There's going to be no cap repercussions. A lot of teams have done this more. I mean, for God's sake, Chris Pronger was in the Hockey Hall of Fame while his contract was still going because of something like this. By the way, Boomstat Bam is asking if you are on LTIR yet.
I have responded accordingly in the chat.
I got to catch up.
So let me ask you this. What's best for Ryan Kesler right now, do you think?
I think what's best for Ryan Kesler is to LTIR. He still gets paid.
Right.
He still gets paid. He can take a step back. He can... I mean, at this point in time, the damage on his hip is bad. It's bad.
I mean, he's been quoted now multiple times. Well, maybe not multiple, but he's been in different forms or fashion. He has said... I've told my parents that I'm getting a replacement as soon as I stop playing, a hip replacement.
Yeah.
He has said that his family is concerned about him after each game because of the amount of pain that
doesn't
in.
His mom text him every single time?
Yes, and this is from the Eric Stevens article from The Athletic as well as the Alex Pruitt article from Sports Illustrated. I mean, this is becoming almost more than sports now. This is a question of pain tolerance, a question of how far is he willing to go and it's so unfortunate because Ryan Kesler, let's not forget, Ryan Kesler was a key piece of a Vancouver Canucks team that came very painfully close to a Stanley Cup, has a Selke trophy under his belt. And let's not forget that in the 2016-17 season, he was 3rd in Selke voting.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has
He was an all-star that year. He was an all-star that year. Wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He also played the second highest amount of ice time under Randy Carlyle 2.0 that season. And here we are, right? It's a really unfortunate situation. But so you were saying.
I don't remember what I was saying at this point in time.
Well, okay, so what I want to pivot to here. So you've made clear that you think that the best option for him is to LTIR. Now let me ask you this. What's the best option for the Anaheim Ducks?
Retire.
Right. I mean, that's kind of goes without saying, but let's assume retirement is off the table because you can't get the guy to just hang him up.
Well, so I mean that kind of brings up the question of where you're going.
Because you can't just force the guy to retire.
No. So where you're going with this essentially is what's better for the Ducks is basically is it going to be better to buy him out or put him on LTIR? And here's kind of what the Ducks have to contemplate with that. Because what it comes down to, in my opinion, As I mentioned, that I think it's probably insured is whether or not the contract is insured for that or not. Because if the contract is insured, then I could see them just putting him on LTIR. If it's not insured, then I could see the Ducks buying him out because that's 2/3 of. You're only paying 2/3 of the contract. Then you're not paying the whole thing.
Right. So what you're saying is the LTIR. To me, that's starting to sound like the middle ground here, because obviously retirement is what's best for the team. But let's just assume that, I mean, if you were, let's just say you were Ryan Kesler's agent, why would you tell him to retire? All right, because you're basically telling him leave the money on the table.
Yeah, basically the reason
leave a crap ton of money on the table.
Essentially, there's no benefit towards Ryan Kesler retiring. Really, the only reason why players would retire is if you have, for instance, and this comes right to mind because it was brought up. I was listening to Puck Soup today, and I think in their bonus episode they brought this up, but Marian Hossa, or in their mailbag segment, they brought up Marian Hossa, and that you have deals.
What is Marian Hossa's status on the cap right now?
I believe
isn't he on Arizona's cap?
I believe so, but because he didn't retire, I don't believe he actually fully retired. But he could have retired because that was one of those that just wouldn't make sense for him though. Well, it's one of the backloaded contracts, so basically he's not really even getting paid this year. I think the cap hits 5.275. He's only making $1 million though this year. Right.
Well, but it's still $1 million. You know.
True. I mean, it's not as if
as someone
it's not
who
as
has
if you
never
retired.
gotten $1 million paycheck, that's still $1 million.
Well, I'm wondering because I think Henrik Zetterberg.
Right. I mean, Pavel Datsyuk. You know. I mean, Chris Pronger. I mean, these are not all David Clarkson. These are not all perfect. Perfect comparables. But the point is, I just don't think there's any upside for Ryan for hashtag Team Kesler to retire. And so if I'm his agent, I go to the Ducks saying, look, he's not going to retire because you've seen that he's willing to battle through and he's going to play.
I'm on my third shot, by the way, of these 3 that's required. So I'm all caught up after this.
And then the Samuelis don't want to buy him out, or the ownership does not seem amenable to buying him out. So to me, I think that if we're parsing this out, I think that the LTIR, long-term injured reserve, seems to be where this is headed. Could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I think that's most likely where this thing's headed. Most likely going that way. Let's do that.
So give me a little refresher here. So what is the cap relief on the LTIR versus the buyout?
Buyout means that the cap hit gets reduced to $2 million.
Right.
It can't be put on LTIR. It's just a set $2 million, and it's there. It's like right around 2 to 2.5, and it's for 6 years. So, I mean, for those of you out there that have been paying attention to the league for a while, kind of one of the most notable cap or buyouts around is Rick DiPietro, and he was bought out by the Islanders, and I believe it's
still getting paid.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up right now.
I think it's 5 more seasons.
He was bought out, and yeah, it goes to the 2020-2021 season.
Oh my God!
$4.5 million on the cap.
That is so good. That is so good. I love that.
Oh no! Sorry. That was how long the contract was for. Holy crap!
Is it until 2026?
They signed him to a 15-year contract.
Yeah, I know.
I forgot that it was that long.
He's going to collect money until 2028 and 2029. So, Jake, just for a little perspective here.
Holy crap! Wait, how is there no cap hit for it?
Because it's a buyout.
But there's a cap hit for buyouts.
Yes, but I think that because of the length. well, you got to keep in mind that I think that this. Actually, I don't know, because this buyout was done in the. Oh, was it a compliance buyout?
Oh, yeah.
I think because it was done right after the lockout season.
Yeah, you're right. It was definitely a compliance buyout. So they're still paying him. That's another. Right. That's another.
But here's I just want a little perspective here. So by the time that this buyout is complete, I will be 38 years old. Or no, sorry. I'm aging myself now by 2 years. I will be 36 years old, and Jake will be 37 or 38. Anyway,
when will this thing be done? What year?
2029. We will be almost 40, Jake, by the
Wait,
time that Rick DiPietro is no longer getting paid by the New York Islanders.
I will be 38.
You will be 38, and I will be 36. That is insane. That is truly, that is so good. That is my favorite thing. I have favorite things, but that is my favorite thing.
Talk about a random sidetrack that we ended up on.
Well, we're killing time here because the recap is not. We're running into that problem again. But so I didn't want to bring this back to Ryan Kesler though. So if we look at the situation with him, I feel like we're looking at it rationally, and I feel like the long-term injured reserve is the likeliest option. And so we've established that is a more so LTIR is more favorable to the Ducks than a buyout.
So
or less favorable.
LTIR LTIR is really weird. There's really no other way to put it. It's very, very complicated and very kind of in-depth with how it works because it's accruing cap hit, different things like that. Essentially, it allows the Ducks, so if the Ducks are tight up against the cap, the relief that they get is that they can end up going over the salary cap ceiling by the difference of that cap hit and the whatever their cap space is at that time. So if they are directly at the salary cap, then they can exceed.
It gives them 3 point something?
No,
3.4?
They can go 6.875 if they are directly at the cap when they put them on LTIR.
So in a way, is it better for the Ducks or is the buyout better?
I think what it comes down to, cap-wise...
I think LTIR is better because either way, they're going to be done with it in 3 seasons or whatever the number is, whereas the buyout extends it further.
Cap-wise, LTIR is the better option, but what it comes down to is whether or not the contract is insured. And that's something we won't really know. That is something we're going to find out because someone's going to ask that. Possibly, because looking back, sidetracking again, Nathan Horton. Nathan Horton is still under contract.
If the Ducks want to give us a media credential, we'll ask that.
Yeah,
but I mean, end of the year.
You look at Nathan Horton, who was traded to the Leafs from the Blue Jackets. The reason why he was traded, and that was the David Clarkson for Nathan Horton deal. The reason why he was traded is Columbus was not able to get his contract insured or did not want to pay the premiums to have the contract insured.
And Toronto could because they're wealthy.
Well, no, Toronto didn't pay for the premiums because the contract was already done. They couldn't add insurance to it after the fact. But Toronto was willing to just pay Nathan Horton to not play and to be on LTIR. So basically,
but that's what I'm saying is that Toronto just has more cash than Columbus.
Essentially, Toronto can pay the contract, can pay a player to not play for
so let me ask you this. What is the likelihood that Ryan Kesler gets Marian Hossed? Do you think, like, let's stick to our...
Unlikely.
Let's stick to our rubric here, 1 out of 10. So LTIR, but on a different team.
2.
Really? Well, tell me why. Defend your position.
I just think if he's on LTIR, it all comes down to that insurance. Honestly, and that's something we don't know.
Let's assume it's insured.
Then 2. A 2.
So if it's not insured,
7 or 8.
Okay. So
as you can see, folks, the difference is that if it's insured, then the Ducks aren't actually going to be paying out of pocket for that out of pocket that money to Kesler. So granted, this is all speculation, but
I feel like the key detail then is this contract insured? But it's a good note because really there's a lot of speculation about what will happen with Kesler, and there's a lot of misconceptions out there. So I feel like based on everything that we know about the cap, about the situation, about the ownership situation in Anaheim, I feel like, to me, the most likely situation would be the long-term injured reserve. Because really, although a long-term injured reserve is maybe less savory cap-wise in the short term, I think that it also just makes it so Kesler isn't going to be on the books for 6 more years as opposed to 3 more, right?
Yeah.
So we shall see what will happen. But can we agree... So my theory, and this is the 4th option, this is my back pocket option that I hadn't revealed until just now, but I'm going to pull it out
now. You sly dog, you.
I think that Kesler plays through training camp. I think that he plays a couple games next season, and I think he gets a ceremonial send-off. He announces his retirement and then gets a home game where it's Ryan Kesler night at Honda Center, and I think that'll be it. And then from there, they'll do what they have to do cap-wise.
Yeah. Andrew Zuni asked, how long does he have to stay on LTIR? If he goes on.
It's the duration of his contract.
Yeah.
So right now it's 3 more seasons after this year.
Yeah. So essentially, the Ducks are going to be having him on their cap, even though he's not playing. Pretty much.
What I feel bad about is that his contract isn't that bad, but the problem is it's the disparity between the contract and the player. That's the problem. Because in and of itself, 6.875 is not a big issue with a rising cap.
Yeah.
The issue is that you're not getting anything out of the player, and you're costing the guy's long-term health.
Well, that's my big. That was like, I mean, you brought this up in our Slack chat today. What were the minutes that Kesler was playing?
This season?
No, under Randy Carlyle.
Right. So the first season under Randy Carlyle. And this was about 5 or 6 years. Well, actually, I can do the math. So that was about 5 years removed from the Cup season. Ryan Kesler was playing over 20 minutes a night, 21 minutes a night for the Anaheim Ducks. And this was the first season under Carlyle. And for a guy who was 32, I mean, that's asking a lot, even though he had a good season. I just think that the Randy Carlyle has a big hand has a big part in this blame that goes around, because I think he just worked him into the ground a little bit. And I'm not saying that he did it maliciously, but I think that as a result of his decisions, it's maybe precipitated this process. By the way, we just got 1,000 bits.
Bonnie.
From none other than
Bonnie.
The literate gal, the not so illiterate gal.
The person who makes our work look good. Huge shout out to Bonnie.
I haven't written in a while. I feel like a fraud.
Her and CJ are the main editors on the site. Bonnie, I think, edits probably more than CJ, but to both of them.
Bonnie is what's the description?
Bonnie is the glue that keeps us together.
So, on the Supreme Court bench, there are different types of judges, right? So there are the judges like Justice Scalia, who are textualists, and so
I'm gonna take a shot while you go on this long rant right now.
They interpret the Constitution very narrowly, and they frame it with the they go with the framers' intent. So it's a very narrow, how is this written interpretation, and that's how they make their decisions. Then there are other judges, more on the left, who are more what we call activist judges, and Bonnie in her editing is more of an activist editor, I would say, because she'll tell you, you know what, you're wrong here. You need to check this. You need to fix this. And I kind of appreciate that. It doesn't necessarily work at the Supreme Court level, but it definitely works for Anaheim calling. I got to say.
Sure.
Here's my shot.
There's a reason why I didn't have Bonnie edit the one article that I've written that she probably doesn't agree with.
Oh, God. Damn it.
Yes, this is an episode of Drunk History, Chad. And yes, Bionic, you're late. But yeah, shout out to Bonnie for the.
I am tipsy.
Shout out to Bonnie for that 1,000 bit right there to get that shot in.
No.
Oh, crap.
No.
Crap.
Here we go, Niners. Here we go.
Bionic Crisis just gave us 1,000 bits.
Here we go, Niners. Here we go. The reason I'm saying Niners is because 49ers made some good pickups this NFL free agency so far.
Sure. I don't pay attention to the NFL at all. But,
you don't pay attention to football because you hate America.
I mean, I kind of do. I pay attention to the Chargers a little.
Yeah. That was my favorite thing was Jake's Chargers ban. Oh, no. Oh, wait, no. Quack City just typed, no, diehard fan. Damn it. You bastard. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? Why? I'm gonna have such a bad time tomorrow. I have to coach 2 hockey games tomorrow. You want the kids to have a hungover coach? Come on, man.
Oh. I love that he used the emote after.
Sorry. Damn it! No! Go away! Go away!
The people listening to the audio version probably are so confused.
Go away! Get out!
Sorry, audio listeners. The Ducks won. The Ducks won tonight.
We're just getting slammed with these shots.
I mean, are we gonna complain about people giving us bits? Yes. So the Ducks game.
I just wish the Canadians would tank. Now you have me on truth serum.
Oh, I've got Felix. Felix, explain why the Canadians should tank.
Because we're fucking crap right now.
This is a venting session. Go ahead, keep going. Tell me more. Tell me more.
We've lost every game that matters down the stretch. We just need to pack it up. Give Carey Price a longer offseason. Give Shea Weber a longer offseason. Get a top 14 draft pick.
We've got 3 more shots.
Strong. Oh, God.
So keep going. Keep going. Felix, why? Why the Canadians?
Anyway, I'm just so sorry to the people at home who have to listen to this nonsense because of these people giving us bits. They hate us. They just want to see us drunk, hungover. It's unfair. It's not all right. It's not okay. You're better than that.
Dark Force says, oh no, is Jake embracing the tank, then finally converting to the... Oh, I think he meant you, Felix. Felix embracing the tank.
See, what people don't know, my dark, twisted fantasy, is that last season, I was Team Tank for the Canadians. Big time. I was Jake last season. I was running Tankathon all the time leading up to the draft. And hell yeah, we got Jesperi Kotkaniemi, future GOAT. So it worked out. So I get it. Trust me, I get it. But, you know, it is what it is. Go hard or go home. Quack City going, no way they get through the recap. Watch me. Watch me.
Go.
Jake is sipping so hard on that water bottle. He's so sipping on that water. Oh God. All right, well, folks, welcome to my nightmare. This is what I call the Big Bertha. This is 3 bits put together. And I promise it will go down the hatch because I am a captain who goes down with his ship no matter what the circumstance. No matter what. Don't ever test me.
I'm just trying to survive.
Boom! Boom! There we go. I hope you're happy.
Survive.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to hockey. Should we talk about tonight's game?
Sure.
I feel like it's Jake is about to lose his lunch on the podcast. That is despicable me, but it's okay because hashtag bad fan. Now I do want to talk about this first goal.
Go for it. The first goal. This is all of your fault for making us like this. I blame you.
Broadcast. This is the listeners' fault. This is their fault. You know what's funny? Is all I ever hear is the recaps suck. I don't want to hear the recap. The recaps are boring. And now all I hear is I want the recap. The Twitch chat is filled.
Felix,
I want the recap.
Felix, that's only what I tell you before and after the show.
All I'm saying is I've never seen this much enthusiasm for a recap. Ever.
Oh.
Anyway, while Jake tries to keep his In-N-Out burger down, I'm going to get into this recap because, God damn it, it's a good one. Samuel Girard, first period, stretch pass all the way down the ice to Mika, or no, was it?
The Twitch chat's chanting, we want the recaps.
It was to Nathan McKinnon with the one-timer. And I thought that Josh Manson God bless his soul, played this 2-on-1 as well as he could have. This goal was a little reminiscent of the Randy Carlyle defensive coverage, something that we'll talk about later in the pod because #GoodStevens article that we need to get into. Now,
there's that.
Period, Max Jones bringing it down the ice. I thought Max Jones had a good game tonight. He goes to Cam Fowler, to Derek Grant, tries to get it in front, punched away by Semyon Varlamov. Later in the period, Ducks in the offensive zone, collected by the Colorado Avalanche to clear it out. And then from there, the Avalanche just take it all the way back down, shoot it on goal, and that's going to get deflected out and into the stands. Now, of course, the Avalanche still controlling late in that first period. Tyson Barrie, nice straightforward pass to Mikko Rantanen. He brings it all the way in, backhand, beats John Gibson. That makes it 2-0 on the power play. And, man, these Avalanche, when you see these types of goals, you just got to think, how are they not making the playoffs this year?
They're making the playoffs. Don't you worry.
They're not making the playoffs. Okay, so later in the second period.
They're my Lanch, Zennis.
Nathan
they're
McKinnon
my
puts
Lanch.
on the brakes, dangles through three guys, puts on a shot on John Gibson. He makes the save. Nathan McKinnon with a nice game tonight. Later in that second, Adam Henrique, offensive zone faceoff, wins it all the way back to the point. He then gets it back to Cam Fowler, throws it on net. Corey Perry at the doorstep, buries the rebound. That makes it 2-1 Anaheim. And at that point, I got to say, Corey Perry might still be good, Jake.
#Perry's still good.
Might still be good. Roofs. I appreciate when guys roof a rebound into the net when they don't have to. That's something that I really appreciate. But
by the way, what?
Go ahead.
Did Troy Terry get an assist on this goal? It looked like he tipped the shot a little bit. I'm right now trying to check real quick. No, he did not. Damn it.
Right. Well, later
that's the scores. That's on the scores. Bias scores. Didn't see the tip from Troy Terry. Didn't want to give him the assist in his hometown.
Well, later in the second period, Daniel Sprong gets in the zone, punches on the brakes, gets it to Ryan Getzlaf, who shoots on a goal, scores, makes it 2-2. Ryan Getzlaf, he's been hot lately, Jake.
I'm Ryan Getzlaf, and you're not?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Wait,
I'm really rooting for Ryan Getzlaf to have a good end to his career.
Conspiracy theory. He saw the bobblehead, approved the bobblehead, and realized if the bobblehead is a joke, he needs to be playing well.
Right. Later in that period, Nick Ritchie would actually get on the board here, and this was kind of a weird one. Puck is out loose in front of the net, but hey, anything is possible with Semyon Varlamov. That would make it 3-2 Anaheim. And then early in the third period, Colorado on the power play gets it over to Tyson Jost, gets it on net, and then from there, it would actually come back out. John Gibson makes a nice save. And by the way, Samuel Girard is very good. Can we agree on that?
Samuel Girard, yes.
Matt Calvert brings it into the zone on the right side, all the way to the net. John Gibson makes a nice save. And then from there, once again, the Colorado Avalanche controlling, and Clayton Kerfoot behind the net. He's able to get it back down low and right back out front, and the Avalanche are able to put it away. Sven Andrighetto, my boy, should still be on the Canadians, but that's a topic for another day. He's able to.
Why don't you talk about it? Talk about it. Let me know your feelings.
I love Sven Andrighetto. I think that he's a guy who should still be on the team, but Arik Parnas, great known analytics guy, was hired by the Avalanche, who he was Montreal-based, Arik was. And Andrighetto, of course, a former Canadian, a guy that I'm sure that they pegged. He's a guy who we will never know what he could have done in the Bleu Blanc et Rouge. Anyway, 3-3 hockey game with 1 minute left in the third period. Ducks enter the Avalanche zone. Devin Shore punches on the stop, gets it back to the point to Corey Perry. They get it back to Ryan Getzlaf. He throws it in front. And then from there, Corey Perry.
#Perry is still good. #Perry is still good.
It home. That's a big goal. Is it the biggest goal Corey Perry has scored in 2 years?
Now I'm trying to think about the goals they scored last year.
I think that is probably true, Jake. I think that's probably true.
You're making me really rack my brain.
With 26 seconds left, I'm sorry, the Ducks are able to get it into the empty net. That would make it 5-3. I believe that was Hampus Lindholm. And then from there, the Ducks take this one, a nail-biter in Denver. Got to say, this is a nice win. If the Ducks were in a playoff race, you would say that this was a heart and soul type of win. But either way, they'll take it. I don't know. This was a good one.
This was definitely a good win for the Ducks. Not a very good win for the Tank, though. Not a very good win for the Tank.
You know what, Jake? I'm tired of hearing about the Tank. Because you know what? This Ducks team, they're not in rebuild mode. The tank only matters if you're rebuilding. And this team, they're going to gun for the playoffs next year. And so for them, they need to show that they're still a good hockey team down the stretch. And so to me, again, if they get a top 10 guy, let's say they're probably going to get a top 7 guy, you insert him into the lineup, a better coach, a better system, some tweaks. This could be a playoff team next year.
Yes, it can, but I can't handle you saying that. It's cracking me up.
What?
Because this is the most positive Felix has you. I'm referring to you in third person. Felix has ever been on this show about the Ducks' future.
Did you see my Twitter thread today?
No, I didn't.
So, by the way, people are asking me how I did that recap. I literally just watched the 5-minute video on Sportsnet YouTube and just narrated it.
Felix,
so you're welcome.
Don't give away our secrets.
You're welcome. Anyway, no, but people are saying, I'm being overly positive or whatever the case may be.
Our good friend and former managing editor JC says you hate Ryan Miller.
Let's not get into that. But so the thing that I want to get into here, and to me, this is where we are at. We are at a crossroads. Is that right now, the Ducks are basically, they've shown some good things since the season started. Some really good things. What are you eating, Jake?
Power berries. Chocolate-covered power berries.
You shop at Trader Joe's?
Sometimes. Are you looking down on me because of that?
No, I like Trader Joe's. I mean, it's not it's not preferable, but it's good.
Where were we going? Sorry. Before I sidetracked you by eating my power berries.
What I want to talk about is that I think that this team right now, as it currently is constituted, I don't think that they're a Stanley Cup contender. I don't think that. And I don't think anyone thinks that, especially if they go into next season, even with a better coach. But, and this is a big but, this is a big booty, this is a big but, I think that going into next season with a better coach and you insert a top prospect, and I think that they're going to tweak the roster a little bit, I think that this is a team that is showing that they can get right back into the playoff mix next season. Right back. It's not going to take very long. They're playing really good hockey right now. They're beating good teams. They're beating teams that were blowing them out of the water a couple months ago. And so I just think, I'm not predicting that this team will make the playoffs and win 4 rounds, but I think that they will be right back in that mix next season because, let's face it, there are guys right now that are showing their true colors on this team. Guys like Devin Shore, guys like Daniel Sprong, guys like Troy Terry. There are guys who are stepping up. We'll see if it carries over to next season. But I do think that this Ducks team is on the comeback trail, and that should be exciting to any Ducks fan. I think that after the long, stormy, rainy season, there is some sunlight, finally.
We have another shot to do.
Hey, let's toast to that.
The lid was still on my booze.
Am I being overly optimistic, Jake? Am I being overly optimistic?
I wasn't listening. I was dreading the shot that I was going to have to do. To be completely honest. What were you saying? Sorry. Go ahead. Repeat yourself.
So Jake, my point here is that I think that the Ducks, again, I do think that they're
I'm being told that we have 2 more to do.
Jakob. Is it Jakob in Hebrew?
Yaakov in Hebrew.
Jakob. Oh, even worse. Or even
better. Essentially Yaakov. Yaakov.
Have you been to Israel?
Yes, I have.
Wow. Congratulations. Okay, so one thing that I didn't want to bring up, though, because people are asking why this sudden optimism. And I think that whenever I hear Bob Murray speak, I always feel like he says things that just are logical. Hashtag logical Bob, something that I'm trying to get going, right? And I do think that he seems to understand what's going on with this team. And now that Randy Carlyle, his one blind spot is out of the way,
yep,
I do think that he has made moves that make sense. I'm going to break it to everyone here who's listening to this podcast, and they may already know how I feel about this.
If they've gone this far through this show.
Brandon Montour is not that good. I'm sorry. It's just facts over fiction, true news. True News Network. I'm sorry. I think that the Ducks pulled off a highway robbery move with that Brandon Montour trade. They got a first-round pick for, by the way, a guy who wasn't picked in the first round, and they got Brendan Gooley.
Wasn't Gooley a second-round pick?
Right. They got Gooley, who, by the way, has looked damn good in his debut with the Ducks. So I just think that the Ducks seem to finally, like what I always look for with an organization. This is kind of my number one. This is my smell test. To put it in layman's terms, it's my bullshit test. It's, does this team seem to understand what is ailing it and then what needs to be done in order to get back to where it once was or it wants to be? And to me, with the Ducks, they seem to actually understand what was setting them back, #Carlisle, and then also what they need to do to move forward. And so that gives me confidence. If I was like an investor or a guy betting on this kind of thing, I would put a little money towards the Ducks' way, thinking, these guys seem to get it. Let's see where they go now. And Jake, you can argue with me on this all you want, but I think that this is just logical, rational way to look at it.
Really quick, JC in our Twitch chat said goalie was drafted number 51 overall.
Right, so that would be in the second round.
Yep,
late second round.
So what did you want me to disagree with you on?
Well, I don't want you to disagree with me. I just my thing is, tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me that in some way or fashion I am being overly optimistic on the Ducks, because a lot of people on Twitter, because I tweeted a lot of these sentiments out today, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you were the one bashing them all season long, and all of a sudden you're turning your back on that. What's going on?" And all I had to say to that was, "Look, I think that things have changed. Things have definitely changed, and all of a sudden, we see a path. We see some light at the end of the tunnel here." So, I mean, what's your take on that? What's your take on where this team is going long term?
I think this team's in a good spot long term. I think really what they need, and this is honestly speaking to everyone out there, I get that not everyone agrees with Team Tank. But the reason why I am so hard on Team Tank is that all the Ducks need, granted, this is a big thing that they need a Getzlaf replacement, right?
Well, yes, but not in the specific sense. I think just in the general sense.
Yeah, in the general sense, they need that superstar. They need the next. Well, yes, they need the next franchise player.
Every team that aspires to win Lord Stanley's Cup needs a superstar.
Yeah, and
Could you argue they have that in John Gibson?
Yes, but you can tell me as a Montreal Canadiens fan, how far does it get you having the goaltender being that superstar?
I mean, it depends how blinded your GM is by the goalie.
But
you could ask Rangers fans as well.
So I think overall the reason why I'm so hard on Team Tank losing, that it's beneficial for the Ducks to this game, is that they have really good prospects within their system. They have really good guys coming up, and I think that it's set up well. But what they don't have is that superstar level talent.
Wait. Let me ask you if this is accurate. You're saying that Troy Terry is not... He's not, like, the next superstar?
I mean...
Are you sure about that?
I mean... I didn't say that. I don't know what you're talking about. What?
He's not the son of God? He's not...
What? What? I didn't say that. I didn't say these things.
Well, look, no. But the thing is, here's the benefit to where the Ducks are right now. And again, we're going real positive tonight, and I want everyone to appreciate this because of all the hard times that have happened this season. But the big benefit of the Ducks potentially having, let's be realistic, they're going to get like the 5th or the 6th pick or the 7th pick. That's probably where they're going to end up, right? Which is not a bad place to be. So the benefit of getting a guy who is pegged for that spot is that it takes pressure off of the other guys, right? So a Maxime Comtois, a Troy Terry, a Max Jones, right? These are the guys who will benefit maybe the most from this guy being drafted, is that all of a sudden they are not the guy that has to bring the cup back to Anaheim, to put it in layman's terms. They're not the guy who has to carry the next generation forward because to be honest, these are good players. I think that Maxime Comtois, I think that Max Jones, I think that Troy Terry, I think that even a guy like Kiefer Sherwood, Kevin Waugh, go down the list. I think that these are guys who can contribute to a good team, but I don't think that they're not the rock that you build your team around. And that's no slight to them because being that guy usually puts you in very elite company. It's a very exclusive club. And so to obtain a guy like that in this draft is going to make this team a lot better, not only in the present, but also in the future, because it's going to take pressure off those guys. So I think that a lot of people are upset about how this season has gone. And I think that management is still very much to blame for what has happened for the Ducks even being in this position. But I do think that there is a lot of positive to be taken away here. A lot of positive.
Yeah, there are. And that's the biggest thing for this last little bit. Even if what happens is what I want, which is them losing out, I'm really, really happy going into next year. I'm really, really happy going into next year. It's with a new coach, a whole new methodology, a lot of different things. There's a lot of positive things to look at going into next year. Also, by the way, Max Comtois had a hat trick tonight. I saw it's his 5th hat trick this year, or 5th hat trick in recent time. So he is tearing up the QMJHL. We should add a little bit of a caveat, though.
I mean, but the thing is that if it weren't for the collective bargaining agreement, he may not even be in the QMJHL right now.
Yeah. Fair.
But, I am all the way willing to root for Maxime Comtois because you know what? He's one of my own, French-Canadian boy. And I'm all about that. These guys getting a chance to do what they do at the highest level.
Okay, so let's jump into that Stevens article really quickly before we wrap this thing up. Also, if people want to get some questions in, we'll get to those in a second. But, Felix, the Stevens article, you have thoughts.
You're referring to the We Are Good Again article?
Whatever the article was that came out yesterday.
Right. So Eric Stevens wrote a very long article. I think it was 2 days ago now, about where the Ducks are at and the changes that they have experienced under Bob Murray. And one thing that I do want to point out here is that there was a lot of talk about the strategy changes under Bob Murray, right? A lot of the things that have, that were going wrong under Randy Carlyle and that have since turned around. And, a lot of people have framed it as, look at how the Ducks have turned a corner. Look at how they're this big, just modern team now. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think that now they are a team that has joined the modern NHL. They're back to where they should have been, which is maybe you shouldn't chase guys around the ice. Maybe you shouldn't, play in the tactics that Randy Carlyle was espousing. And so I think that nowadays, looking at what the Ducks are doing, I think that now they're just back to baseline. They're back to where they should have been all along, which is a competitive team in the Western Conference. And so, there was a lot of talk throughout the article about, accountability, zone defense, all these things. And that is actually one thing that I wanted to touch on is that a lot of the things that we taught that I harped on specifically during the beginning of the season was blown assignments. I talked a lot about how there were a lot of goals in the beginning of the season that it seems like a guy just forgot where his guy was or forgot where the cutter, because a lot of hockey is just knowing where the next attack is coming from. Because if you look at players, they always know where their guy is, but they don't know where the next guy is coming from. That's what we call the third man in, right? A lot of the times it's the third man in who gets a goal. And so a good hockey team, a good defensive team knows where that guy's going to be coming from and knows how to stop that. And so the issue with Carlisle's system was that because it was a man-to-man defense, one player had to be so worried about where his guy was that he didn't have time to think about where the next guy was coming from. Now, what the article talked about is that they're playing a zone defense. So, and to me, and this is what I coach my players, is that, look, stay where you are. You have an area of the rink that you have to protect. But don't worry, like if you're a D-man, if your guy goes to the point, don't worry about chasing him up there. The forward is going to get him, right? So what you want is guys to protect their area of the ice, and then from there it's going to be a lot easier, like Cam Fowler described in the article, to protect the house. The house is kind of like it's one of those terms within hockey coaches and players that's like very important. The house is a slot. We want to protect our house because that's our house, right? And so what the Ducks have gotten better at is limiting these breakdowns that lead to shots from within the house. And it shows up in the numbers, and it shows up on the tape when you watch the games. And so what the Eric Stevens article was getting at was just how they've gotten there, what it looks like now. And so what's sad about it, this kind of grim reality of the article, is that, guess what, guys? This is just like, you just, congratulations, you've made it back to baseline. But you know what? For this team, that's big progress, and I do find that impressive.
I've been told we both have to do another shot.
Do we have bits for that?
God damn it. There's another 1,000 bits.
Literate Gal is accusing me of rambling.
Also, Diehard 24 fan 24 said, will I still be allowed at the watch party after this cheer? I think he's given us enough bits where he's allowed at the watch party.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. Whisper to me on
whisper sweet nothings.
Whisper sweet nothings. Whisper to me on Twitch and we'll get it done. But I mean, here's the shot for that. So, by the way, also JC's in the chat. I completely forgot about this. JC, get ready for your nuggets. How many nuggets are you gonna eat? How many do I need to buy for you? Really quickly though, I should add on my take from that article. Biggest takeaway: Cam Fowler, so eloquent, very good with his thoughts, very good about explaining things.
You know, I really hope Cam Fowler joins the media once he retires.
He is very good at explaining a lot of different things.
Well, it's not even that he is good at explaining it, but he's also just honest. Like, he just says what actually happens.
Yeah, completely. I don't know what else I need to add, but yes.
All right, boys and girls.
Enjoy.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I can't do another one. That one hurt. Oh, bad. It was really bad. That was really
bad. No, we're going to do another one. Yes, sir, Bob.
I'm not.
Jake?
Yeah?
We have to do another one.
I need a couple minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Guys, I appreciate the live audience, but Jake right now, he is sucking on that water bottle. He needs a little time.
Oh, my coworker Maria is in the chat and just said, don't be a quitter.
Is that your coworker?
Yeah.
Maria, tell us more about Jake's work ethic. Tell us more about how he is in the workplace.
Questions. You're in the Twitch chat.
Varluna, thank you for asking. Guys, if you want a specific topic brought up or questions, please bring them up now. We will be happy to answer them here and get into them, because as you can see, Jake is on his deathbed. I'm on Rainbow Road right now, so I don't give a damn. But yes, throw us some topics and we'll get into it. Zenez8, he's actually throwing this at Maria, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Are you going to the show of YouTube are you going to show the YouTube of this at lunch Monday? Yes, she will, because we have to humiliate Jake. We have to make him feel bad for this moment. Thank you, Zenez, for asking that. Caster Y4SO, aka
I don't design bridges, Spencer,
aka Godfather, asks, how badly are we going to beat Totally Offside? We said we're going to embarrass them. We're going to make them feel bad for even showing up. You know what pisses me off about Totally Offsides is that they're getting all these goddamn ringers. Every time I look at their goddamn Instagram, it's like, oh, look, me team Totally Offsides. meet this guy who, by the way, played in the ECHL. You know what? Screw them. We're gonna beat them, and we're gonna win that game.
We have the ultimate ringer. You know who our ultimate ringer is?
Me.
George.
Yeah, George. George is gonna injure someone. Okay, another question here.
We still have another shot.
Wait,
did you do your extra shot? Did you do your extra shot?
I did. See, some of us get our homework done and then go take the test. Some of us don't do our homework and go take the test and fail. But yes, some other good questions that are coming in here. Quack City with a great comment. Screw the ringers. I agree. They are cheating the system, but that's okay because they're still going to win. Varluna, great contributor, asks, is Gooley the partner that Cam was waiting for? Now, that's a good question. And Mike, my response to you, Varluna, because Jake is still getting his wits back about him, is that...
I was close right there. I was real close. Real close to destruction.
There's a couple ways to look at it. So I'm a guy who looks at stats. There's no question about that. But I'm also a guy who watches the games and trusts my tests. And what I can tell you is that Cam Fowler and Brendan Gooley looked good to me together from the start. And I didn't actually look at their stats until further down the line. And when I got to look at them, these guys are hitting a home run, just from a defensive statistical standpoint. I do think that for whatever reason, Gooley, he's such a smart player, so mobile. I think that he works with Cam. It's really hard to know who works well with Fowler, but I do think that worked. It's a very small sample. Let's see what we get next season before we really crown it the top pairing or a pairing that works. Okay, so question from El Mico. Question: whose name should I get on the 25th anniversary jersey?
Troy Terry.
El Mico.
Troy Terry.
El Mico. I don't have an answer for you because
John Gibson.
I don't know what you value as a player, but I'm going to give you my advice. And I think that you want to get a guy who's going to be around for a while. And so to me, if you like goalies, I would say Gibson is a great choice. If you like skaters on your jersey, then I would say that Andre Kasha is never a bad call. By the way, Andre Kasha is still good.
Number 25.
So I'm getting called out in the chat because I guess I didn't take a shot.
I've got my next one lined up.
Hey folks, I have no problem paying off my debts.
Alyssa, I'm drinking some Bullet Rye. It hurts. It hurts bad.
Hey folks.
This for people watching from the beginning, I showed it at the beginning. You can see how much is gone. It was above. It was above the label. So that hurt.
This is where I'm at. I was right here. Oh my god. Okay. No, but we have some good questions here. Guys, what I love about our listeners is that you guys ask questions that keep the mind going, keep the conversation going. So in the Twitch chat here, let's keep those flowing. I think there was another one that I missed.
Has Cam from Zenez, has Cam had a stable partner since Dupre?
Well, we already kind of covered that. Zenez is. Well, I mean,
I haven't. I was trying to survive.
Well, I want this for the record. So in a court of law, you want to say things for the record, and I want Maria to have this on the record. Jake is a champ. I can't believe how late he stays up posting the podcast, but still shows up and powers through every day. So Jake, I think you should take that as a very big compliment because for those who don't know, and this is going to be sentimental, get over it. Jake is an engineer, which is a hard job. I can barely do my goddamn accounting, which is just basic math. This guy has to design buildings and bridges and whatnot.
No bridges.
Well, whatever the case may be, just go with it. The guy has to do a hard job, and he does this pod, and he shows up every day and tries his hardest. Maria, thank you.
Why thank
Maria,
you?
Thank you.
Why thank you, Felix? That's
Maria,
kind of
thank you.
And also,
Maria,
screw you, Felix.
Okay, let's see. What other questions do we have here? If the Duck, okay, so this is from Cold Fire, 725.
Oh, I saw that question. It was a good one.
If the Ducks drop out of the top 5 in the draft, should they use their other first-round pick to move in the top 5? And Cold Fire, I thank you for this question because this is something that I've been proposing to Jake all season long, and he has been against it from the very beginning. But let me tell you what I think about this. So the Ducks have 2 first-round picks. They also have guys that they want to ship off for cap relief. Why not trade those guys to get into the top 3? Because let's be honest, the guy with the 20th pick, the guy with the 13th pick, they're not changing your franchise. But if you can flip those guys into a top 5 pick plus maybe a roster player, immediate returns. I think that's what they should consider doing, depending where they end up in the lottery.
I mean, you don't have to
tell me I'm wrong,
twice.
Jake. Tell me I'm wrong.
Why do I have to tell you you're wrong if I agree with you? By the way, as we're going, I decided that I want to do some tankathons right now. So find more questions as I do this to get the Ducks being first.
Country roads, take me home.
God, this is such a shit show.
To a place I belong.
West Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
I don't know the rest of the words.
You should go to West Virginia.
There we go.
Felix 2020. By the way, folks, you can't vote for me for president because I'm a Canadian citizen. So at best, I can represent you in Congress, but I can't represent you in the United States.
If you become a U.S. citizen, can you get that? Can you run?
I can run for public office, but I cannot run for the United States president because the president has to be a natural-born citizen. Believe me, I thought about this.
I'm too drunk to really think about that right now.
Who sings that song? That's a great question. I believe that's asked by Lewis X209. 209, by the way, 209. I don't know if you're from Sacramento area, Northern California, but 209, feeling fine.
It's definitely John Denver, and I forgot my screen. My screen is still up, and people can see me Googling. I wanted to
give a shout out to the 209 because you know what? That 209, man, they are a hard-nosed people. They wear their hard hats to work every day, and I want to give a big shout out to the 209 because Sacramento. The thing with California that kind of annoys me is that everyone thinks about it as Modesto. So Lewis
Cinco Seis Dos.
Yeah, he's from Modesto. Again, that's part of the 209. And what I want to point out here that's very important is that California, people think about the Bay Area. They think about Southern California, San Diego, LA. But there's a bigger part of California. The inland part, Fresno, Bakersfield, Modesto, Sacramento. You go up north, Eureka. This is the bulk of our economy here in California. These are the people who actually supply. No, I'm serious. God, I'm so serious. Anyway, shout out to everyone who's from the 209, the 559, really just everyone, because we support you, we respect you, and you know what? We've got your back.
Shout out to everyone from the 562, the Cinco Seis Dos.
562? Oh, that's Los Angeles County.
That's Long Beach and Whittier.
Bonnet Chris is saying I'm talking nonsense. Well, he just doesn't know. Just doesn't know the truth.
By the way, that 562 shout out was simply for you, Chad. No one else will get that.
If you don't like me shouting out the rest of California, then that's your problem, not me.
People in Twitch chat, throw out what area code you're representing.
Yeah, if you're in the Twitch chat right now, throw out your area code. Just put in your area code 909, Riverside County, Inland Empire. That's a good one. 714, Orange County. Let's go. 909. There's another 714. 951, Riverside County. 323, LA County. Good job. 714. 949. Ooh, that's an elite area code.
That's JC.
Is that Texas?
520 from Maria. I'm assuming that's somewhere in Arizona.
Arizona. 213 is.
How do you know this stuff?
Jake, just trust me on this. 949 Elite 661, that is L.A. or Bakersfield, I believe. Keep them coming, boys. Yeah, 520 is Arizona.
Yeah, JC's elite. JC's elite.
949 is an elite area code. 520, 951 Corona. There you go. Spencer Wood. 909 East LA County. There you go. 949. Come on, guys. Keep those area codes coming in.
Zenith says if the pod does a trivia night that he's betting on you.
Come on, keep the area codes coming in. 876. Ooh, that is a tough one. 512. Yeah, that's Texas.
876.
Okay.
876 though.
Jesus Christ. Is that?
I feel like Ken Pafu's just throwing out stuff. Yeah, he just made them up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now that I know it's made up, I'm not going to respond to it. 867, I believe. 867, I believe that is Texas.
867-5309.
916, Sacramento County.
Jenny.
201, New Jersey.
Jenny.
New Jersey.
Whatever. 867-5309.
313, that is Michigan. Detroit. There you go. 313. Come on, keep them coming, boys. You just test my knowledge here.
All right. All right. Anyone have questions? Anyone have questions that they want? All right. So
get the questions coming in.
Get the questions as we're doing that. But Felix, it completely went over your head.
916 Sacramento.
JC went with 867-5309.
That's not an area code.
It's not. It's a song. Jenny. All right, wrap up the pod. It's time to fucking. Whoops. Sorry about that, people. Whatever.
Hey guys.
We have the explicit tag.
I hope that you enjoyed the podcast tonight. We certainly did. We do these kinds of podcasts every once in a while to really try to involve everyone. 608. I believe.
Oh,
Jesus
question.
Christ.
Will Holzer end his run with the Ducks this season?
608 is Wisconsin. I know that because Alyssa is a Brewers fan. 323, that's LA. That's easy. Okay, so I want to give a big shout out to everyone who joined us in the Twitch chat tonight. We really do appreciate you guys because you are the lifeblood of this podcast. You know,
we do this for you.
No, but it sounds corny, but we do this 2 to 4 to 5 times a week, right? How much can there be possibly left to talk about? And the truth is that there's a decent amount to talk about, but not nearly as much without you guys. You guys throw us topics. You guys throw us ideas, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much. I can't speak highly enough to how great our listenership is and how great our fans are because you guys keep this thing going. You know, this is not a train that can keep going without any coal thrown into the engine, right? So thank you for that. But as always, please make sure to check out our Patreon account. That's patreon.com/azpod for $5 a month. Again, $5, that's what? Starbucks large coffee, right? You get 2 bonus episodes, and these episodes allow us to go more into depth about the topic that we're facing. And, they resemble more this pod without the drunkenness and without the area code trivia. They're more, we go in depth into a topic. So I recommend you go do that.
We go into different things, like how we went on to the random topic of Rick DiPietro's contract.
Yes, exactly. Because Jake and I are not just Ducks fans, or Jake is a Ducks fan, but Freudian. Jake is a Ducks fan, but my point is we are not just guys who follow the Ducks. We follow the NHL at large, right? And so not only do we follow the National Hockey League, but we have thoughts about what's going on around the league.
I have thoughts and feelings, people. You might not know this.
Exactly.
Like Troy Terry is very good.
Well, I think everyone and their mother knows that. But the point is that we are trying to provide a podcast that covers the local team to the fullest possible extent. But if you want more, we're willing to talk because we're just diehard hockey fans.
$5 a month.
Yes, $5 a month. God damn it, is it worth a large coffee at Starbucks? I think it is. Anyway,
and also I do want to mention at the $5 a month tier, it's not only that you get the bonus episodes each month, you also get the whole backlog of it. And so there's a couple in there specifically that are very much meant to be timeless. They're not meant to kind of be topic of the day. There are some that are that, like the trade deadline, different things like that. Our trade deadline coverage was more so on the Patreon. We covered the league as a whole. I think we broke down every single trade that happened at the trade deadline on the Patreon podcast. It was something along those lines. I've drank a lot tonight.
We broke down every damn trade.
Yes. So
like, come on, guys.
So
like the thing is like let me ask you one question. Do you trust what we say about the Ducks, or do you at least are entertained by it? If the answer is yes to that, then I can guarantee you that the answer will be yes about the rest of the league. Please subscribe. Please support the Patreon account.
And then also with that, you get access to the Discord chat. The Discord chat is very fun.
How many shots? So Maria, dude, your coworker is just digging deep here.
There's no more shots tonight, Maria. There's no more shots tonight.
Is Maria like your boss, or
no?
Like
she is not.
Like
she is not my boss.
Sorry, Maria. Sorry. Anyway, all of that being said, thank you very much for listening. As always, if you're a new listener, I deeply apologize if this is your first podcast, because you deserve better than this. Believe me, there's been better before, and there's already better available to you now. Social media, check us out. Jake is on there at Reindeer Games 91. Now, if you're wondering, why is he called Reindeer Games? Keep in mind, his last name is Rudolph. So Reindeer Games, like Rudolph the reindeer, born in 1991.
It took you way too long to figure this out. It took you way too long.
At Reindeer Games 91.
It took you so freaking long. It took like a year. It took like a year. It was
my name is Felix Sicard. No one knows how to spell it because it's a French name. At Felix Sicard. At Felix _
Your name is
Sicard.
Does not sound that French.
It actually doesn't, which kind of bothers me, but that's a story for a different day. At Felix _ Sicard. Go check me out on Twitter. But most importantly, Anaheim Calling.
I do want
.com.
Really quick. We're getting some requests right now about a draft lottery podcast, whether we're going to do a live stream. We're figuring out whether we're going to do it live. I don't know if I exactly want to have a camera on my face during that draft lottery.
No, we're going to do it. You don't have a choice.
But it's also at 5 p.m.
You don't have a goddamn choice.
It's at 5 p.m. How are we going to make this thing work?
Jake, you worry about you. We'll worry about keeping a camera on you.
We'll do a podcast that night, for sure.
Guys, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get to you the live reaction of Jake Rudolph.
Maria, you may be in charge of putting a camera on me.
When the Ducks get the 7th overall pick.
Oh.
I will make sure of that. Also, we're going to stick time this weekend. So that's cool.
Okay, we are? Sweet. Tomorrow morning? Great.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there, brother.
All right.
By the way.
Land this thing.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's podcast, God bless you, because God damn it, this was a rough one to get through.
I'm kind of drunk.
A rating. Go leave a rating and a review on the Apple Podcast app. We would really appreciate it, because we do this for you. We do this for the listener. We are here to make sure that your questions get answered, that your topics get covered. We are here to make sure that we have a podcast that covers everything. And so if you feel appreciated, if you feel like the topics are being covered, go leave that rating and review.
Oh, by the way,
I
forgot. So twitch.tv/Anaheim Calling or Anaheim Calling SBN. If you have Twitch Prime, you have if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. You can use that. We also have a YouTube channel. I've been told by Zenez, let me change it to our main screen. Point right above your head, Felix. Point above your head. I can't realize where I'm putting. Point above your head, there's the subscribe button. Point above your head, Felix. Stop drinking your beer. Okay, the like and subscribe is
Country Road.
The subscribe button's above his head. The like and subscribe button's down there on YouTube for all of you out there. You can also find us on SoundCloud, on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Review, Stitcher, any of those platforms. What else you got?
I want to say this for the record, because again,
I'm terrified.
I work in the legal field, so I think about the record a lot.
Help.
I want to say this for the record. Tonight, as of right now, we have 29 live viewers. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you live viewers, all 29 of you. And when that number becomes 100 or 200 in 2 years from now, we're not going to forget you. This show is not going to change because of more people tuning in. We are here for you. We are here to answer your questions. We are here to make the best pod possible. On that note, thanks for listening, and we're going to catch you at the next podcast Sunday night. Talk to you then.
Goodbye.